Hello and welcome to episode 58 of the Boxing Social podcast in association with Betfred. Now, the reason I'm laughing is just before, make sure, by the way, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. But more importantly, Barry Jones, the former WBO super featherweight champion of this entire godforsaken planet, just told us that in his garden last night, never mind the heat wave, what were there, Barry?
4 toads.
4 toads. Good name for a band. 4 toads.
But one's come in my kitchen, because all the doors are up, one came in my kitchen, so I booted him out.
Yeah.
I never booted him out. They're bigger than me.
What did he weigh?
Even bigger than me, yeah. What's that?
Would you get a unanimous decision?
I went, look at, my missus went, I was scared of my missus. Anyway, I showed my missus that podcast the other week when I said I don't give away weight.
Yeah.
That didn't go down very well.
She sent the toads round.
But I wasn't lying. But anyway, so she's gone in. I've gone in there. It's just looked at us. I obviously didn't really do this. And just what they waddle. I don't know what do you call it.
Yeah, they sort of hop, don't they?
It didn't really hop. It was like
they're famously hopping creatures.
It didn't even rush out.
Amphibian.
I was like, when you running? And I said, when you running out? And he went, I've seen you fight, you pussy.
You know, in the jungle and that, they lick them. You get like a big buzz if you lick the back of them. Next time they turn up, give them a lick, film it,
I would have.
get it on Boxing Social.
Yeah,
Speaking of Boxing Social, we've got
a quick one.
We've got an actual employee of Boxing Social here, Ayman Khan. He's still here. He did make it again this time. How are you doing? What was in your garden last night?
Did you just pass this by mistake on your way to the place that you thought we were, which is wrong? Does that make any sense?
He's like, I'll try this one. Well, anything in the garden of any note?
No toads, unfortunately. It would have been great to be visited by some toads. Deontay Wilder is supposed to be using...
Was he in your garden?
He was in the garden. What the hell?
Mike Tyson also
Was he a
famously.
toad? Oh, it's that thing. Yeah.
What garden you got?
No, I have 2 cats. I have
Two
two
cats
cats in my garden. One is my own.
Mate.
The other is...
sorry about that.
I love cats.
I remember when I just go back to when I was a virgin.
Wow. Even the producers laughing.
It's only funny because it's true.
I love cats.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
I'm desperately thinking of a segue from toads and cats to this weekend's action, and I'm stumped, I'm afraid. So I'll just say what it is.
Isaac the Cat Chamberlain.
Bournemouth. Isaac Chamberlain. It's Bournemouth, and that's the hometown of Chris Billam-Smith. I
love it.
Yeah, I think maybe officially the nicest man in boxing, Chris Billam-Smith. And there's a few of them, but I think he would beat all the other contenders.
Would he?
And he's boxing Isaac Chamberlain. And like you say, Barry, something about this fight that makes sense. It's a Sky fight. It's maybe the most interested I've been in, like one of the new boxer fights. Brooke Khan notwithstanding, but this one.
It's a proper trade fight.
I love it.
Yeah, you say trade. I on Sky the other day, and I said about trade fight. I said it's a great trade fight, and everyone's going like that.
Don't say that on Sky.
I gotta kill you when you get off air. And he said, but it is though. Yeah. It's a proper trade fight, which is which I think people will enjoy, because they're at the right level. I think for me, and there's a favourite there in Billam-Smith.
Billam-Smith, Commonwealth European champion.
Yeah, you gotta be the favourite. He's boxed better people, and he's looked better in doing it, as well to me. And he's on a crest of a wave, because against Tommy McCarthy, that's the best I've seen him. I think he was ruthless, much more direct than I've seen him before. That looks stronger, more accurate. He was fantastic. He was, but Chamberlain's got that lovely smooth motion to his work. Looks a little bit laid back. I think that might be the issue here, maybe as well as the fight goes on, but because he got just that natural rhythmic movement in his. He'll whip in a shot you won't see, like we saw in his last fight, where that body shot. He gets, because he got a lovely movement and lovely turn from the core. He can move his body in the right position to get the angle for the perfect shot. So it's a great fight. It really is.
Billam-Smith, you alluded to it there. I believe he's 15-1. Only defeat came to Richard Riakporhe split 3 years ago now.
That one, yeah,
a long time ago, and he's come on leaps and bounds since.
The Riakporhe fight, it's a split. It was close.
Yeah,
but the right winner.
Yeah.
As well, by the way.
What are we thinking, Ayman, about Billam-Smith these days? Because at that point, he was one of a crop, but he seems to have emerged and really improved in those 3 years since that defeat.
Yeah, excellent in terms of his improvement. We talked about Conor Benn having improved over the years from Miller and onwards, and Chris Billam-Smith under the guidance and tutelage of Shane McGuigan, one of the best, if not the best, trainer in the country, is really kind of impressed in the performances that he's had and in the outings that he's had, bearing in mind the two fights that he's had with Tommy McCarthy. The first one, again, like, very good performance. He mentioned himself, like, and you hear this a lot with fighters. They say, "Oh, it wasn't my best night, and I had a lot more to give." And you kind of think, well, did you? Why didn't you give it then? What kind of stopped you? But then you see the next fight, and you really see the difference in the Billam-Smith that came in from the first fight to the Billam-Smith that came in the second fight, and he really laid out on the line in terms of the promises he made about how he'd improve as a fighter. So I think Billam-Smith has been kind of going on very well, very nice. He's on the cusp of something big now. It's clear that maybe that something big couldn't come right now because of the hold up at the cruiserweight division, so they needed something to come in, and Isaac Chamberlain has slotted in with Hennessy losing the dates with Channel 5, so Hennessy's trying to get his fighters opportunities, and this is one of those fights that you're talking about the assets. The biggest asset for Chamberlain is the crack that he has and the ability that he can crack. Hopefully, from Chamberlain's perspective as well, he's improved from that Okoli outing as well, because that's a long time ago, but he looked lost in that fight, really very much lost, and didn't know what to do. So,
not many people know what to do with Okoli, though.
That's true, but I mean, he looked like a fighter who, if you can unsettle and keep him off his feet, keep him offset, then the power's not an issue. Yeah. I think Billam-Smith, with the marauding nature that he has, looking to cut off the fighters, he'll do the opponents he has in the ring. He'll very much do the similar sort of thing. But I'm hoping that Isaac has learnt from that and is able to kind of counteract that and land something big, and which come up to hopefully a really interesting fight.
Yeah, let's talk about Chamberlain a bit, because it's a bit of a strange one. Like you mentioned, he'd done the hard yards, he'd done the apprenticeship. People like Russ Henshaw, Ozzy Jervier,
Wadi Camacho.
Yeah, Camacho, exactly. Camacho. And then he got the Chamberlain fight. He got the Okoli fight, and Okoli had done the same sort of yards. Luke Watkins, people like that.
Didn't he pop his shoulder in there?
Yeah.
Or was it Camacho?
Maybe. Yeah, I know what you mean.
It was him, wasn't it?
But he did, and then that fight came.
He popped his shoulder and still won the fight.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he bit down. Yeah, there was a proper, real people, coming of age fight for them. But then he got the Okoli fight, both of them at the same level. Stinkeroony of a fight, by the way.
They sold out that.
Yeah, a sellout was probably pushing it. But yeah, it was the O2.
Yeah, it was packed out. Well, it was busy for them. No, busy. For two kids from the same area.
Yeah, and Okoli dropped him early. It was awful, like really ugly fight. And obviously Chamberlain came out as the loser. And he's sort of been in the wilderness since then, based on the fact that he was in that fight at that point. So since then but he's been down at Feeway, Brixton, under the head coach there, Bobby. Unbelievable gym. Anyone who knows amateur boxing in London, the work they do there, and he's been doing in a Feeway in Brixton.
Okay, yeah.
And he's been working there, and that style, like you talked about, that smooth, laid back, but with some pop in there as well. They were talking about him doing heavyweight as well, but obviously this is a cruiserweight fight.
I don't think he's a heavyweight.
Yeah. So what do you think about Chamberlain, and based on the fact that the last few years he's been boxing, but away from the spotlight a bit?
Yeah, it helps you develop, one thing, because there's no urgency. Not everyone's on your case to perform. In the spotlight.
Even on Channel 5 that that wasn't the case.
But the problem, his style's lovely to watch. When he's on top, it's lovely to watch. I sort of say he's an on-top fighter, but I don't think he's quite that. But he has to fight his own pace. That's why I make Billam-Smith a favourite, and a sizable favourite to me because of that. I think Chamberlain can hurt Smith, can hit him, and he won't make it easy, and it'd be hard work for Smith. But the fact that Chamberlain, to be at his best, has to box at his own pace, because that smooth movements, unless you literally are can miss shots by a whisker and do it that way. With that small little roll he got, it's got to be set up, and everything's got to be smooth, and then he can sort of go bam bam bam. Bam! Or jump, he can do this. He can find the angles for the shots, but it has to be at his pace. So someone like Smith, especially the Smith we seen in the last fight against McCarthy, how he adapted. He didn't allow McCarthy time to fiddle him about. In the first fight, McCarthy's real clever, and he filled him about, and he didn't allow it in the second fight. He lost a couple of rounds early on, I think. I think he won the first loss, maybe lost the next couple, maybe, if I remember. But he put it on him straight away. Didn't allow him any space, any movement. And I think he can do that. And he's strong now, Smith. I think he can do that to Chamberlain. Because you give Chamberlain a little bit of distance, give him a little bit of time to set you up, and he potentially can play with you.
And what he knows is this is a massive chance for him, isn't it? Almost kind of out of nowhere.
Yeah, but it's the same for both, though. Smith knows now.
It's his first fight away from Matchroom Billam-Smith.
He's boxing at home. Yeah, it feels like a new platform. It's not, but it feels new because now we should know. Because bear in mind, all this boxer thing at the minute with Sky, they're still looking for the flag bearer. Really, if that's the right, is that the right term?
Yeah.
They're looking for somebody, you know, who's going to take the charge, and so they're all vying for that position. I think he's not there. Am I right with that?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think who they have really. Who's the massive?
Well, there's.
They don't have a star, do
No.
they? They got some great fights coming up. Their star will be Savannah Marshall if she wins, if she beats Clarissa Shields.
Mm-hmm.
But no, they don't have yet that star person or the big number. They're clean number one in their stable.
Yeah, Adam Azim might emerge as that, but he's too young.
He's too young right now.
And
And they
someone
mean
else
no,
is Richard Riakporhe, and I must say, I feel like there are parallels to Riakporhe Juma and this one, in that we all knew that Dion Juma was a good fighter,
Yeah.
but he'd sort of been out of the spotlight, and Riakporhe was the one that they would sort of chosen, and Billam-Smith is the one here, and Chamberlain's been brought in as a sort of Juma figure, and we saw how that went, Ames, with in terms of the momentum being with Riakporhe. The momentum here was with Billam-Smith, you could argue, and we saw what happened there.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the fight critically, you'd have to say, given the records, this is a bit of a step down for Chris Billam-Smith. Like I mentioned, Tommy McCarthy, higher level, whereas Isaac Chamberlain, Matt Sen, Prasovic, the fella that Akoli fought, was mandatory. It was like one of the worst mandatories that we've seen in recent years in the ring. But yeah, if Isaac Chamberlain was to win this fight, I think it'd be a real big breakthrough, a real big statement if he was to win that fight. I'd say just looking at the two fighters, as Barry said earlier, like biggest asset, like I said, was Isaac Chamberlain being able to crack. Weakest asset for Chris Billam-Smith is he doesn't move his head. He doesn't move his head, or very rarely moves his head, and that's a big flaw that Shane I'm sure has noticed, and they'll have to employ that head movement in that.
You just said Shane McGuigan was maybe the best trainer in the country. Now you tell him what to do.
I'm very certain. Don't clip that, Jake. I'm very certain that Shane McGuigan has highlighted that. It's just about reminding Chris during the fight that he needs to, because he's facing an opponent that has that level and ability to crack. There's no doubt that instruction will be there from round one, but. It's very much Isaac's opportunity to jump in and really steal the spotlight, especially when boxers are looking for talent, looking for people to be flag bearers, like you mentioned. There's apparently Coley might be being offered this deal, and he'll be the face of boxing. If they're looking for people to really break through, you've got a story there, an opportunity from Isaac Chamberlain's perspective to really kind of grab that flag by beating Chris Billam-Smith. But it's a tough ask for Isaac.
It's a weird one, isn't it? Because you mentioned it's a step down. It sort of is when you look at it like that. But you could have brought in someone from Poland or whatever for Billam-Smith, and we wouldn't really care. Yeah, but even at a better level. And no one would really care that much, and it maybe wouldn't headline like this, and it wouldn't go to Bournemouth. But the fact this Chamberlain, and we know him...
They're clever.
It's great. It's great. I love it.
Because, by the way, it's a dangerous fight.
Of course.
Everyone's got about Chamberlain, can crack, which is what you two say in this word. I don't know what it means, actually. Crack was a drug.
Something to do with omelettes.
But it's... he can outbox you as well. He's good. So, but he doesn't move his head, Smith. But what he does is do this. He keeps his hands up. So some people can't do stuff. So not everyone can do everything. So sometimes you go like you might be telling someone all the time, don't lift your chin up, don't lift your chin up, but they do it. You just can't help it. So in the end, Chisora. He had Don Charles, who's a fantastic trainer. He slaps with the right hand. He very rarely turns it over. It's even to this day, slapping to the right hand. Now, Don would have seen that years ago. It's gone, you got to, and he just can't do it. So in the end, just go, that's how he does it. We got to live with it. You work what you got. And so I think, but he does keep a high guard, Billam-Smith, and he keeps a high guard and he keeps his shape really well. And under pressure, he keeps his shape. And I think that's important. But what he does do now, he fights at a higher pace. He will force the pace, and I think that will make it really uncomfortable for Chamberlain, who's a good fighter, who can theoretically catch Smith coming. Smith knows he's got to do that. You've got to force the pace straight away and start off aggressively, certainly assertively. But if he tries too hard, too fast, Chamberlain will time him lovely coming in, and he can hurt you, and then you're in trouble. Then you're in real trouble. But I think I'm going out on a limb here, actually, a little bit.
Uh-oh.
I'm waiting for Jake,
Look out.
And to clip it up. I think Smith stops him. And I know the shot.
Go on.
I don't want to tell him because, like, no, it's just
Well,
not fair, is it?
tell Shane he needs a bit of help.
Shane, listen, Shane. What you need to do,
The
right?
jab is
According
key.
to us two, who've never trained a boxer in our life, I think he hits him with a left hook.
Ooh,
Mm.
sneaky.
I think he hits him with a left hook. I think the left hook does the job. Might not be the first shot that finishes him, but it's a shot that starts it. I do. I think that you can hit Chamberlain and hurt him with a left hook.
Mm.
And I don't say he's vulnerable around the whiskers at all, but at that weight, they all can bang. That's the truth. And I think with Smith coming forward and at him, if he can slide into the distance, I think he can and throw that left hook. I throw it long as well, by the way. Again, with Chamberlain with that movement, you'll be looking to get a rhythm, starting to do something. He sometimes forgets his punches coming back, and that's when you got to get in with him quick. I think that might be the shot. Game
So,
over.
CBF.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Like, subscribe.
Oh, we ain't got to watch now.
What's this down there?
So he's European Commonwealth champion, like I said. You know, he wins his fight, he moves on. How far away is he, do you think, from the world champions? And we're talking Lawrence Coley.
Oh, don't say nothing. Well, I said Bradis was number one.
Well, yeah, I know. But that it's a movable feast, isn't it? And especially if Coley moves up, how far off do you feel that Chris Billam-Smith is, considering that he's already won this stuff and he's beaten these guys and everyone at domestic level, Riakpur aside, is he close to that level? Is he worth has he earned a shot at the world title?
Yeah, I think he's very close. He needs that. You guys mentioned they could have brought a foreign fighter in for this fight instead of maybe fighting Isaac Chamberlain. But look, I mean, it all kind of really just depend with the situation with Coley, which is another situation in itself. I mean, Coley on the outside looks very, very frustrated with the position that he's in. He can't get a unification fight now, and he's voiced those frustrations.
Is he?
Could they make the Makabu fight? But you'd think that it'd be a good, exciting fight. But then you look at Dubois fought Bryan, and he hasn't been paid yet for that fight. So would they want to go back to making a fight with Makabu, who's promoted under?
He hasn't been paid.
Yeah.
So you're telling? Hang on. Oh, hang on a minute. You're telling me that he boxed on a Don King card, and it's been an issue.
12 people were there.
What?
Yep.
I don't see that.
Also, with Makabu, because if you imagine CBS trying to get him outside at Bournemouth, Makabu's like, fuck's sake, I went to Goodison Park, got knocked out. Is he going to want to go to bloody Bournemouth outdoors as
but
well?
also, what with this new Australian young kid?
Yeah.
I don't know what. Oh, he's tired. I haven't
Well,
clue
he's
he's
got
tired.
broken jaw both sides.
But he's out. No.
He's got a bit of time off.
He's out for a while. They're not going to make. Bredis wants the rematch. They're not going to make that until you'd imagine having to recover. That'd be early next year at the very latest. So really, the situation for Chris Billam-Smith stands that if Coley moves up to heavyweight because he can't get the unification over here, then that opens up the opportunity for Chris Billam-Smith to number one ranked is Masternak, and Chris Billam-Smith stands at number two.
Masternak's still around.
Still going. A great fight for Billam-Smith because
Exactly.
the matchmaking worked.
So there's your title opportunity there, but that just stands on whether Lawrence Coley in their own stable in their own gym.
Who did Bello beat for the European title? Was it?
No, it was Masternak, European champion at
Might have been
02.
his best win at
Yeah,
that week, actually. And Makub, we know looking back, but I think at the time I thought
Yeah,
that
Masternak, and that was a
really
great
good win.
because Belly was
I
thinking
used to
about
cover loads of
Yeah.
Masternak fights on Box
Box
Nation,
Nation,
all
yeah.
those German shows we used to do and stuff. Yeah, and
Yeah.
again, solid.
The other option I throw for a bridging fight is the newly entered into cruiserweight being Sergey Kovalev. Someone potentially.
I think they mentioned, I've heard, and that's a great one as well because we don't know what Kovalev's got left, and that's a big name, and that's a
Depends if it's a drinking season. You know what I mean? Depends what he's up to, innit?
It does depend what he's up to, but it's a tough one, and we don't know what.
Riakpur again. I don't know what.
Yeah.
You know,
Especially now they're both on Skype, but you would think that they will build towards that. But Coley, you mentioned they're in the same stable, but who knows with him because it looks like he's gonna maybe get new management, new promoter, new TV deal. Maybe if he's talking about moving to Dubai, is Shane McGuinn going to go to Dubai with him? Maybe it's going to be a total new change. So then that's going to help Billam-Smith in that sense. But that remains to be seen. But he has to win this fight, and I've always got to forget about it.
It's a hard fight. It's a great fight.
Yeah.
I think they've done a good job, actually. Putting it in Bournemouth, different angle. I remember when I said this as well on Sky, and they weren't happy with this either. And Sky in the 90s used to go all around the country.
He did.
In leisure centres. You mention a leisure centre now to a TV company or a promoter, and they try and hit you with a bat. Like, remember you just go to
they tried.
We don't go to
up,
leisure
didn't
centres. Everyone's going to an arena, but like, why go in a 10,000 seat arena and sell 5,000 tickets when you can go in a? This makes no sense at all, actually. But you can pack out a 2,500 seat stadium, leisure centre, or a big indoor place like that. They'll go because there's 2,500 tickets sold, but then you're paying twice as much for the venue, and it looks horrible. Like these guys who shows in leisure centres, they'd be jam packed and people be standing on each other's heads, and it was a fantastic atmosphere.
It's the beauty of York Hall as well, isn't it?
Yeah, but York Hall's the prime example of it. It's a tiny little place, so you can't make any money selling tickets on that for a big TV show. But I mean, the atmosphere itself makes the fight better. It makes you better as a fighter. It makes you better when you box in front of an arena that's empty. What's that
Remember
gonna
that
be
Box
like?
Nation, that first Box Nation show that
Appleby Walsh.
that was.
I was there.
Yeah,
I was a
same.
punter. I didn't have Box Nation time because they didn't have it on Virgin.
Yeah.
They only had it on Sky.
Unbelievable. And that was York Hall and the beauty of it. So you're right. But anyway, this is in Bournemouth and CBS gets
It goes to Bournemouth. He goes home. It's a different
Yeah.
place to go. And because they're not used to having boxing there, if he's popular there, I hope he is. He should be. He's a lovely kid. That sells out, and that's another place to come. Like Cardiff, not with Joe Cordine, that might be a place to come because he did really well there on the back of no one knowing he was boxing there, by the way. No local press covered it. It was disgusting. I'm going off topic.
They will now.
But yeah, and I think for Billam-Smith, it builds a different thing. And I think it's good for Boxer and Sky to see that. And let's not be afraid to go out to these major cities in Manchester, Liverpool, Newcastle, and London. That's it. That's all we go. And then we can go other places where people want to see it. And people will come out because it's a night out. People forget that it's a night out. And you might not sell you might not have a 10,000 seater arena, but we got
People
a
love
4,000 seater, which will be packed, and it'll feel like it's 50,000 then. There you go. See, I don't want to tell you to do your job.
And what
There's around the world.
While we're at it, go back to Belfast as well. I missed that. Anyway, on the undercard, the Pig, Joe Pigford. People like Caroline Dubois. There's a few others. John Doherty. I wanted to just briefly talk about Ben Whittaker, who makes his long-awaited debut.
Great.
Yeah, go on.
Real talent. Real talent. And also a real Marmite character, because I don't know him, never met him. And he comes across not what I love, by the way he talks and things. He's selling himself. It's not my generation, so I struggle with it. But everyone who I know who will tell me who met him personally say, what a lovely man.
I've interviewed a couple of times.
Lovely man.
Lovely bloke. And
like the Gale.
Yeah,
James
exactly the same.
James the Gale is such a loveliest bloke. I don't know him double well, but a few times I met him, I go, what a lovely guy. I see him on telly when he was in the Olympics, and I go, oh, well, he won the gold, but it could have been someone else. Because the way he was, trying to sell himself and stuff, and you understand, but actually he made a mistake, I think, because he should have been the darling of British boxing when he won that gold medal, because he's super talented, and won and proved that by winning a world title. And we all fell in love with him at the end of his career, ironically. But so he had all that career. I think, why didn't everyone love me? Look what I've done. They all love Amir Khan. Even a silver medal, I won a gold medal. And and the same with Ben. I think he's going to have a lot of that. But if you're a strong character and you can cope with that, Eubanks and all that stuff, then it makes you money. But he's a talent, but I'm interested in how the Sugar Hill Kronk style thing's going to work, because Ben Whittaker, what we've seen him as an amateur, is all about movements, and it's not. They're very erratic and just weird movements. Like it's not
stuff you don't teach.
Yeah, it's not conventional boxing. He's very athletic and he got his own little way about it. That's what's made him who he is. You got to make him more of a professional. But how do you? The Kronk style is pretty much based on a real solid hard jab. The first punch you throw is the first punch they're going to feel, and make sure they feel it. And so you can take a maverick like what's his name, that big heavyweight called Tyson Fury. You can take him, and he can do it. But then you got to get this kid now, young kid, get him off his feet, and change him. How would you change him without ruining him? I say this all the time. We've seen with Ben. We've seen him with Josh Taylor. Try to make him a better fighter. Took away his magic a little bit, I thought, in his last fight. The same with Joshua. Try to make him a better boxer. And now he looks like a fighter who lacks a little bit of confidence in what made him good, which is that raw strength and power. Now he's boxing like a guy who doesn't want to be in the line of getting in a fight anymore, because they've made him a better boxer. They've done the right things. All these people have done the right things with their fighter, but sometimes doing the right thing takes away the magic what they got. You can add without taking away.
It's like making Dylan White a southpaw. That's what you say.
But yeah, but you can add to people's game. You want to be the all-round great fighter, do everything. But I mean, sometimes you got to go, this is what I'm good at. Add a little bit, but if it takes a little bit away from what I do, get rid of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Don't like that's what I do, and I think they might be that with Ben. He's young now, but still, and he's still early in his career, so you've got more clay to mould, if you like. But still, how are they going to change it from this fleet-footed dance around, make you miss, and silly angles, and don't know where to spin you on a sixpence? That's what he is at the minute. To the Kronk style of bam. But someone said he got power, apparently. Natural power. It's hard to see in the amateurs how more powerful they are because the gloves are like this. You can't make a fist in those amateur gloves, can you? So how they are, but it'd be interesting because someone said to me, I can't remember what I said, he got real power. So if he has that, then it's going to be easy. But how they settle him down is going to be interesting. Yep. But I still listen. You don't win however much they change you. If you get to an Olympic final, you're special. You're just special. That's it. So yeah, I'll let me train him. I'd say 10% of his career.
What have you made, Eamon, of that alliance with Sugar Hill? Because it seems like perfect commercially. It seems like perfect, doesn't it?
Yeah. First of all, I love the package that is Ben Whittaker. Pop culture references coming out of him. It's Dragon Ball Z and not Street Fighter. I'm sure the producer knows Dragon Ball Z very well.
Dragon Ball Z.
But yeah,
he doesn't know that. Because
he said yes. He said
yes. He got a wedding ring on.
I'll throw some shots your way. Don't you worry. I'm sure you'll duck out the way of them anyway. But no, look, I love the brashness, love the confidence that he carries with himself. I think that translate and be very relatable to this current generation of people actually who are very much kind of on that same wavelength of really pushing themselves out and promoting themselves out.
Gen Z.
Is
it Gen Z or would be on Gen Z now?
I'm not too sure, but
you're Gen B.
I don't know what you're talking about.
But yeah, he's very current, isn't he?
I've never heard none of their music.
Very, very confident. And he can, again, talking about crossover from the last podcast, he can cross over to other things as well. The TikTok style, the social media, Twitter, Instagram, those sort of things are very much his ball game. So if he capitalizes upon that as well, he's going to skyrocket too. With, of course, the Sky Machine behind him and Boxer with their movement to rejuvenate the boxing scene now with younger, fresher talent that we haven't seen before, like a Joe Pigford who's getting a spotlight too on that card, a Caroline Dubois who's now transitioning into the pros as well. Again, fighters getting those opportunities there, but I'm a little bit like asterisk around Ben in the sense of talk about him having injuries, and injuries might affect his career going forward. So we'll see how that plays out with him. Hopefully, it's not a blast through type of career with Ben, and he has some longevity in terms of his career, so we can see him around for a long time. But yeah, in terms of him and Sugar Hill, again, Barry summarised that much better than I could probably do. But if he can add that power to his game, then you're pretty much there with a complete package already. You just have to add a couple of sprinkles here in the game, which you'll find out the weaknesses from as he gets experience in the ring. But the experience is the only thing really that lacks then at that point. So you've got yourself almost a ready-made star who's had that Olympic success already, so people know about him. So, and Sugar Hill as well, with him, the personality he has, carefree kind of guy.
No top on.
No, exactly, yeah. So him, Ben, add Tyson Fury into the mix too there. This potential is massive for someone like Ben Whittaker.
And you stick him in the Kronk gold as well, in the shorts. That's what he's going to be wearing.
Is that definitely
full package? Seems like it. World champion in weighting.
It's always too early to say.
Someone's got to be world champion.
Yeah, no, obviously. Thank you. But, yeah, I don't want anyone to win the world title again. Now it takes away from mine. No, I mean, up until James DeGale, every Olympic sort of star we had didn't produce it, but he didn't win a gold. Forget Ben Whittaker, but you tend to say yes because again, to get to that level as an amateur, you have to be something special. To be something special, which means you could translate to the pro game quite comfortable. And then yeah, I think so, but it's too early. Let's just see him. It'll be developed faster than normal nowadays. But I still think because they can just piggyback on what he done and give him some fights to just take him around the country and sell him. That's what you got to do. He has that personality where people are going to want to watch him for whatever reason. My generation might want to get beat or not. I don't know. The younger kids are going to want him because of it. They're in love with that. It's more to their understanding, and yeah, and I think that. And apparently, behind the scenes, people are falling in love with him, and that's important.
That's what matters, yeah.
Of course it does, yeah. Because they're the ones you want. You got TV execs going, "What a lovely kid." Because he's a big, tall, good-looking, handsome. He's a handsome bloke.
All right, mate.
His number. No, but
your back garden.
Marry him.
He'd be on my back hand if he'd been with it, get a couple of toads and Deontay Wilder. But it'd be
What a pie. Sounds like a WBC convention.
well, if they're tits licking toes, like But I think they'll have. I think so. It'd be a fun ride, and I think though that they're investing in 4 years' time. Boxer.
Yeah. Well,
these Olympians now. I think I've said this before. I think you've got 4 years. If you're an Olympian and you do quite well, got a medal in the Olympics, you got 4 years. You should be winning a world title in 4 years, if you're good enough. There's no reason why you're not, unless something like a pandemic gets in the way. But if you don't win it by 4 years, there's a reason why you're not good enough, or they're holding you back for some reason. Yeah, so I think they got next 4 years with all the Olympians they bought will be interesting.
On the subject of Olympians, the same night is a guy boxing who we maybe would have said all this about back then before his debut, and that's Josh Kelly. Mercurial talent, out of the Olympic, out of GB, like, he's got it all, he's got the look, he's got this and he's got that. Obviously hasn't gone his way. Boxing on a Wasserman show, finally back in action. He's against Lucas Brian Bastido.
Channel 5, by the way.
Channel 5.
Big figures.
Up in Newcastle. What we saying about Josh Kelly, Ayman? He's lost to Avanesian, basically, and now he's been put out to pasture by many, but still the Josh Kelly of old still got the magic. Can he get himself back in that picture?
First of all, hopefully that's been broadcast the undercard live on Boxing Social YouTube, so we got hopefully get an announcement soon enough on that one. So hopefully we get that. But yeah, Josh Kelly is the same of old. I mean, the Avanesian fight was the one. It really ramped up to that point, and since then, obviously, he left Matt Truman, Eddie Hearn. He sort of moved over to Wasserman, and there's obviously a clear rebuild for a fighter that had the amount of time out of the ring, especially the type of defeat that he suffered as well with all that spotlight on him. You have to give him that opportunity to rebuild. So it was there for his last fight, and look, the opponent was not to the level or anywhere near of Josh Kelly, so he can get away with the triple left hooks and things that are going to rebuild your career. And the highlight packages are great for someone that in the position that he needs to. This Bastida fight is something that, again, you hope that he gets through it, which I'm sure he will, not being on the level. But you want to see Josh Kelly in something that's meaningful. That's the word I look for when I look at Josh Kelly and getting him back on track and putting him in the eyes of the fans again. They've ordered that Troy Williamson fight for the British title. That's the fight that in Britain, if you're looking for something to say, like Avanesian,
I'm back. Yeah,
like Avanesian coming forward, looking to knock you out any moment, and you can kind of come over that, and that's a really good mark to really kind of push yourself back out and really kind of shout at the rafters to say I'm back. But until then, like. You had the markers with Josh when he fought Robinson, and he faltered in that fight back then, and then he went to Avanesian, and it's just all kind of like the direction is not quite there, and you hope for someone who's spoken about in the level of talent that he has, that he does keep on track. But he's got, along with fighters aren't just fighters, they're people, they're human at the end of the day, and they've got things outside of the boxing that they put their energy towards, and he's, as far as I'm aware, he's very successful outside of boxing. So whether the drive and the determination is still there remains to be seen, and that's a big question mark. Whether you want it when you're successful outside the ring, whether it's a Chris Eubank Jr. living because of his dad's achievements, or a Conor Benn, or a Josh Kelly because you've got your own achievements outside. You've got to have that drive and determination. We'll see with the matchmaking and the decisions that the team make around him.
What does he do outside the boxing then?
He sells chicken wings and burgers. Then he's got like a food company. He definitely did.
Never.
And he's a model.
I have no interest outside the box, but they do.
Got a champ. It's true. It's true. What do you reckon?
That's the problem. I think there is about lack of ambition will be an issue. He's a talent, and in that Olympics, it was him and Boazzi for me. Boazzi looked like a natural pro, and Josh looked like the ticked every box. Good looking, fast hands, great movement, but throwing millions of punches can sometimes his tank empty. He's too quick. Whether he's trying to throw, he's not a puncher. Whether he's trying to throw every punch with conviction, but throwing too many of them means his tank empties like that. Against Avanesian, that's always going to be the case. Try and get him out there early and blast him out, and if that doesn't work, then you're in nowhere's land. And I think that Troy Williamson fight is a dangerous fight because he loses to him, which he could very well do, by the way. He's a bit of a monster. Who's a big light middle, by the way, super welter. Troy Williamson.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
He is, yeah.
And Josh Kelly only 28, and if he was to lose that fight at this
Where'd you
point,
go with Josh then?
Yeah.
You sort of go, oh, Josh, man, no, we do. No, I mean, commercially, he still doesn't mean he's a bad fighter, but those people now are trying to push him forward now because he's a good-looking kid and all the rest of it, got a nice style. They'll just go cut their losses, and that's what happened. And he might walk away because he has got a business going other places. I think it's a dangerous fight. I'd avoid it for right now, to be honest. I think you got a bit more time with him. I think he has to be active and busy, but I wouldn't take that fight straight away. I just wouldn't.
Continue the rebuild.
He can know where to go after that, to be honest. And also confidence-wise, how he feels, and also people going up against you then have no fear of you. That Evanesian fight was a glimpse of people think I can walk right through him if I can get past the first 4 rounds.
They knew it, didn't they?
Nothing.
Neil Marsh, they all knew it. They knew what was going to happen in that fight.
But yeah, they did. And I think, and so, he can box differently though, I think. This fight that he got now, this kid, he's going to blast him out. This fight to make him look good, I feel. He looked really good. He looked fantastic. And that's the important part, to sell him, I think.
There's a lot of talk about Ritson as well for Kelly.
That's a good fight. I think. Ritson's not the... Ritson's was a lightweight, wasn't he, at the time?
Yeah.
Ritson is a lightweight.
Yeah, he was the Geordie Golovkin.
He was black, but he was...
He stopped Cardle, didn't he? Was it Cardle?
Yeah.
The big knockout?
Yeah, but then once he moved up to light welter, super lightweight, whatever it's called, he didn't look as good. But now if you're talking about he's going to be at light middle, is it?
Yeah, welter.
He's going to welter.
Well, they'll find a weight for
they'll find a way for it.
And you're right, and that's the locality, it makes sense for both of them.
But again, there's a size thing there. I think Ritson's a fight that would be good for him then, for him, not for Ritson. Because it's a sellable fight, which is guys in 2 different weight classes. And yeah, and one can be totally outboxed. Ritson can be outboxed, totally outboxed. No, he was good when he was too big for the weight. And he was aggressive and he was strong. And once he gave away that natural big size, he wasn't nowhere near as effective.
Yeah, he's had a couple of bad nights.
Yeah, and certainly if you got to go up another weight again or 2 weights, then he has nothing in his corner. See, the ones who move up in weight, you even think it's the ones who are big and strong and move up in weight. They sometimes do, but usually it's the ones who can box. Because they can box. And
they can look after themselves up there.
They can think and they can move and they can use the fundamentals better. The ones who just work on raw strength all the time, the more you move up in the weights, that reduces dramatically in the end. Then you're not the bully anymore in the ring. That's how it goes.
Isn't it weird that there was a time when Josh Kelly and Conor Benn were always linked, and I will say, hand on heart, I always was big on Kelly in that fight at that time.
Of course you was, because Conor didn't look any good.
No, and Kelly looked $1 million. Are you saying he's the most improved fighter?
I think he's the most improved fighter we've ever seen in the history of sport. But he in any sport. But he wasn't back then. To what we had an Olympian.
He was a huge favourite at that point.
Who looked brilliant, by the way. Then you thought, this is a mismatch. Like you're standing on his head, and he would have at that time, by the way. But now, if they fought today, Ben's a massive favourite, and rightly so, because he hasn't looked vulnerable except for that long time ago. Yeah, he's a different man now, isn't he? But Josh is still the same guy who he was. It's not much you got to do with Josh to make him better. I think you got to realise what he is. See, Adam Bruce, a fantastic trainer. Let me tell you what to do. Adam, let me tell you now. He's a fantastic trainer. He's had loads of success. So of course he is. He has a wide stance. I love a wide stance. But with a wide stance, it's usually good for punches because you're from a solid base. But it drains your energy. Because your legs, you're in more of a set mode, so you're less lighter on your feet. So the movements are sharper, but they take more energy, so you obviously that reduces. Now, when you're a puncher, like Groves and Hay, well, it's worth the risk that they'll be knackered because you have that power, and if you haven't knocked them out, they're tired anyway. By the time they get on 10, you've punched the fight out to them, and they can have an effect. But if you haven't got if me trying to box like that with no power. Yeah, it might be sharp and super fast and sharp and just like Josh Kelly, and you can't go and get nowhere near me. And I've rocked you a few times, but I haven't got that raw power to pull you down and put you to sleep and keep you in your place. Late in the rounds when I tire, you still got enough fighting you to put the pressure on. Evanesian. That's exactly what happened. So I think doing that style when you're not a natural puncher is a risk.
So we need to change.
We've seen it a bit with Michael Conlon, by the way, who boxed brilliant. They're not quite the same, and I saw, because he was on his way to winning the fight, to be honest. But still, the energy reduced a bit, and it allowed Lee Wood into the fight. I think that might be the issue here. So I think, but Booth's clever, and he'll know. Listen, he hasn't got what them fighters have. So I have to. We tried, it didn't work. Now we have to tinker a little bit with him and see how he goes, if he's still with him. By the way, I'm presuming he's still with Booth, but
yeah.
I haven't got a clue.
Who knows? Do you think, Ayman, last one on this, do you think that he has got the minerals, has got what it takes at 28 to get back into that picture and maybe not fight Conor Benn? We don't know what he's going to do, but get back there.
It's hard to say. It's really hard to say and give you a definitive answer because there hasn't been, like I mentioned, that meaningful fight to say, yeah, this is it. You've won this. You've won a British.
And this ain't it either, is it? By the way,
no. So we're not going to get that in the now or towards the end of the year. So really, when you have that marker, when Josh has fought that opponent that really kind of gives him that test, we need to see that adversity again. We need to see him come on top of the adversity first to really put that adversity from before with Avanissian to the back of our minds and then play off of that. That's what I really think Josh needs. And until we've got that fight, I think personally Josh is capable of that. By no means do I write Josh Kelly off with the talent that he does have. There's Adam Booth wouldn't be training a fighter like Josh if we didn't see the talent or the trajectory of him being able to get to somewhere in the sport, be successful. But we have to see that meaningful fight for us as fans to really kind of put a stock back in him, and I'm waiting for that. I want to see that.
Okay, well, we expect him to do the job. One local boy, CBS, maybe another local boy might do the job. Great weekend of boxing. Hope you both enjoy it. Look out for them toads. Thanks for your time again, boys. And thanks for you for watching. You might as well look out for the toads as well. Hopefully we'll see you at the next one. Take care.